thankfully, he was very much comfortable. He was not in any form of distress, which was very good. So because of that, Dr. Friday noticed that we could have gone on past the 40 weeks. Like, it would have been safe to pass 40 weeks. So days went by. We were 40 weeks and some days, and we kept going to our visit, but nothing was happening. And every time Dr. Friday would ask me, are you getting any contractions? And I'm like, no, I'm not getting any contractions. Then at some point I started to feel some very mild cramping, and he said, I sent him a message and I told him what I was feeling, some very mild cramping, but it was nothing to talk about, nothing compared to what women speak about when it comes to contractions. So he said, well, that is definitely not it. So I was like, oh my, I was hoping that it would have been something like a start of something, but unfortunately it was not. So we got to, like I said, we got closer to 41 weeks and no baby K. What are you doing? We're waiting on you. Like, what are you doing? We're very much excited to meet you. Where are you? Why are you still in there? So it got to a point where when we got to 41 weeks exact, Dr. Friday did not have any intentions of taking it further than 41 weeks. And so our option was induction. Now, when you hear of induction, I'm like, okay, I am just ready to meet my son. We're just ready to meet him. So whatever it is I gotta do, let's just get it out the way and do. And so Dr. Friday, my husband, said, well, let's get the induction going, because he's over the top excited. So he was like, let's get the induction going. So Dr. Friday looked at him and smiled and said, you think induction is easy? You think induction is 1, 2, 3? Induction is not 1, 2, 3. Induction usually lasts 2 days. Usually, okay? Usually it lasts 2 days. So we proceeded with preparing for the induction. So at that appointment, that was my last appointment, and so I had 2 options. I had the choice of going to the hospital on my last appointment was a Wednesday. I had the option of going to the hospital on the Thursday or the Friday. So it would have been the 7th of April or the 8th of April. And so we decided the sooner the better, of course. So we decided to go with the 7th of April, being admitted on the 7th of April. So we were admitted on the 7th of April, and the induction process started. So Dr. Friday came in on that morning, and he checked my cervix. I was only 1. Guys, you're hearing this? Only 1 centimeter dilated. 10 we need to get to, and I'm 1. So that would have been a journey for induction. Anyway, I did not know what I was getting myself into. All I knew is that I wanted to meet my son. I was ready to meet him, so let's get this ball rolling. He came in after checking my cervix. He gave me a pill, a small pill, and he inserted it vaginally. And that pill was supposed to start some form of contractions. So with the induction, they're pretty much mimicking labor or faking or how should I put it, like they're forcing labor, because it's not happening naturally, so they have to force things. So they're going against Mother Nature pretty much. So they're using medications to allow you to get contractions and hopefully dilate. But of course, yes, that does not happen with everybody. So yes, you may be taking the medications to cause contractions that would help you to dilate, but it's not all the time that that's going to happen. So some inductions work, they're successful, but some are unsuccessful. And so when he inserted the pill vaginally, he left, and about 1 o'clock on the 7th of April, I started feeling minor cramping. I'm not even going to call that contractions. Minor cramping. So he sent me a message and he asked me, how am I feeling? Am I getting contractions? I told him I'm good. The contractions are nothing to talk about. They're definitely bearable. So that's fine. They hooked me up on the monitor to monitor the baby, making sure that he's responding well to the medication, he's not in distress, and to monitor my contractions. These contractions were so far apart, right? Oh my goodness. So of course, yes, with that, they had to give me another dose of the same medication. Instead of doing that dose vaginally, they gave it to me orally. So I had to swallow that pill. It was a very small pill, and that brought on some more contractions, but the contractions were still bearable. They were nothing absolutely to talk about. And I'm saying, if this is labor, I can keep going and going and going, not knowing that that was not labor. Nothing like labor. Anyway, they decided now to check me again. So my doctor came in to check to see how the meds were working and how many centimeters I was dilated. And so when he checked, I was only 2-point-something centimeters dilated. So I was barely a 3 centimeter dilated. And I was already 1 without any meds. So the meds really did not allow me or cause me to dilate that much. So the following, they could not have given me any more medication on that day. So the following day, I had to get another dose orally of the pill. When I got that dose, the contractions really kicked in, but they were again nothing to talk about. My menstrual cramps are usually worse than what I was feeling with the 3rd dose of the pill. So because of that now, Dr. Friday had to now move on to the final stage of, well, what I'm thinking is the final stage of the induction process, and that was the drips, the IV. Forgive me if I'm not saying using the correct terms, but the drips. I'm guessing they're drips because it's in this bag and they're just refilling and just giving you medication through the IV. So I had to move on to the drips. Now, from what I understood, the drips would definitely give me contractions. And so I braced my back, I braced everything because of what was said to me with the drips. On top of that, guys, they told me that I would be getting a dose of these drips every half an hour. Whew. So if my body is not responding the way that it's supposed to respond in terms of the contractions and the contractions lasting longer and coming closer together, forgive me again if I'm not saying the correct thing, but you guys who've been there, you would know what I'm talking about. You would think that it would, you would hope that the drips would cause your contractions to get closer and to last longer, which would cause you to dilate and to dilate quickly, because that is the main purpose of these medications, Like I said, it's to pretty much force labor. So I got my first dose of the drips. It was bearable. Your girl can handle that. I can handle that. That is nothing for me to handle. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe, Janicia, breathe. So I'm like, I'm breathing, and when I'm going too fast, they will say it slower. And I'm breathing because this I can handle. The another half an hour came by, they came and they lashed me with another dose. Fine, I can handle that. That's bearable. They came another half an hour later, lashed me with another dose. Still managing it. I'm just breathing through it. I'm breathing through it because that is what I was told. Your breathing is everything. So I'm breathing through this pain. Another half an hour came about. Another dose. At that point, I had to be hooked onto the monitor to make sure again that the baby was not in distress. The baby was very much comfortable with all the medication that I was getting. That came about, and I'm telling you, the contractions were just all over the place. Sometimes it will come close, sometimes it's 15 minutes apart, sometimes it's 20 minutes apart. It was just all over the place. So it was at some point it was going good. So I was showing nice progression, but then it just went all over the place. And so because of that, the lovely nurses, Nurse Joycelyn, maybe Nurse Joseph, Nurse, what's her name? I know her name, but I'm trying to call her nurse name. Anyways, I can't remember the last name. It's not coming to me. So, Nurse Kimberly, Nurse Lake, and all of the nurses and Nurse, what's her name? The Filipino nurse. Her name is not coming to me. They were enjoying this thing, if you ask me. And next half an hour came. We came to give you another dose, Miss Francis. Another half an hour, we came to give you another dose, Miss Francis. And I'm like, when will y'all stop giving me dosages? Because impossible. Like, impossible.